friends, welcome back to Deliciously Plant-Based with me. And I am back as I promised with more deliciousness and more exciting recipes. So today our dish is inspired by a very popular Korean dish called japchae. These are essentially, they're essentially glass noodles. The noodles are made with potatoes, sweet potato starch. And when you cook them, they're completely transparent. And that's why they are called glass noodles. And these noodles, they soak up all the sauces or all the flavors from the sauces and vegetables that we're going to cook together with it. And it's going to be turning out into another spicy, sweet, a little bit of tangy dish, right? And as always, we are using a ton of vegetables, right? So traditionally, this dish is made with beef. And so we are going to use our own plant-based protein and my favorite ingredient, tofu. I mean, you could use, soy crumbles that's available in stores, or you could use, these days there are a lot of other plant-based alternative meats, right? They're available. But I like to stick to tofu. One, because, most of those ingredients that you get in the supermarket, the crumbles, and they are processed products. And then our tofu, our soy protein, it has a lot of health benefits. It does not have as much sodium. It does not have sodium compared to what the products we get in the market. And you can flavor it yourself. Tofu, as I said, it's another one of those blank slate ingredients that you add your flavors to it. You marinate it in something and it will take up all the flavors. So why not go with what it's, something that is healthy, right? Something that you can create. So this is going to be our protein. And I have all these amazing, bright, colorful vegetables in front of me, right? So we are going to use all these vegetables. So we have baby spinach, we have carrots cut in matchstick, we have so many mushrooms, right? Cremini mushrooms. You could use shiitake, you could use oyster mushrooms, you could use any mushrooms from the supermarket. Then I have the red cabbage, I have scallions, like so many different ingredients. So imagine like how colorful your dish is going to be. All the colors are going to pop, the flavors are going to pop in your mouth, right? Okay, so without further ado, let me start this and take you on a journey to Korea, right? As I said, this is going to be the starch in our dish, and this is going to be our protein in the dish. And we have all these vegetables, all these healthy ingredients. They will make the meat of the dish. Now, as always, we start with the ingredient that takes the longest to cook, right? So here, good thing about these glass noodles is they cook in 5 minutes, literally in 5 minutes. All you do is give them a ride in a pot of boiling water, put a timer for 5 minutes, and then just drain it out and rinse it with cold water so that they're not sticky. Remember, these noodles are made with starch, so they're going to be sticky. So you just rinse it in cold water. You can toss it in a little bit of sesame oil too. So let me start. I have to start here. I have a pot of boiling water going here. Okay, I'm just going to put these noodles in the boiling water and put the timer, and my timer is going for 5 minutes. So I just put the noodles in a pot of boiling water, and as I said, these cook very fast. So in 5 minutes, these noodles will be transparent like glass, and that's why the name glass noodles. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is, while we're waiting on this, I'm going to get our protein going. So, since all the ingredients, everything in this noodle is kind of like, easy to bite, easy to eat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this tofu into small bits. Okay. So when we take a bite, we have a bite of everything in here, right? A little bit of tofu, the crunchy carrots, snow peas, everything. And like I said, this dish with the variety of vegetables we have and the amount of tofu we have, we have our greens, we have our, different vegetables. I'm just cutting my tofu And after I cut the tofu, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a little bit of a, like, you know, cook it in a little bit oil, salt and pepper. That's all you need. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make a spicy sauce. So that sauce, everything will be tossed in the sauce, right? So we don't need to, like, you know, put seasoning in everything. I'm going to get the pan heated so we can, you know, sort of crisp up of our tofu a little bit, right? Okay. A little bit of oil, very little oil, don't need a lot. Okay. Let's heat up the pan. And once the pan is hot, we're going to toss the tofu in and let it, like, just, you know, crisp a little bit, like not more than 5 minutes. You don't need to do, you know, don't need to cook it more than 5 minutes. So my pan is ready, and I'm going to add the tofu to the pan. Just make sure that it's spread in the pan so it cooks or crisps evenly. And guys, all these recipes, they are available on, you know, on Plantology website, and then all these episodes, they're also available all the time on MANATV International. So you can always go back if you missed something. You can always go back and watch it. Okay. So let me prepare one more thing. So I'm going to slice these bell peppers. I'm going to just slice the bell peppers. Okay. I have a red and an orange bell pepper with me. Just going to slice it, right. Okay. I don't need much. It's going to be half of the bell pepper. Nicely done. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to make the sauce. It's a very, very simple sauce. Not many ingredients. Basically, it's soy sauce, brown sugar, you know, a little bit of fresh garlic, and a little bit of ginger. And I always like to add a little bit of hot sauce. So my to-go hot sauce, sriracha, we're going to add that into it. So we get everything. So we have some sweetness, we have the saltiness, the salty bite from soy sauce, the umami flavor. We have everything going here. So looks like our glass noodles are ready. So I'm going to drain them out. In the meantime, I'm going to just toss the tofu pieces that are crisping in my pan. The pot is hot, so I need something to carry it. Okay, let's see how this goes. Yay! As I said before, these noodles will become transparent and look like glass. Now our glass noodles are ready. Okay, so once we have the tofu ready, I'm going to saute some of the vegetables, right, in the pan, and then we'll mix up everything in a big mixing bowl, and then we'll toss it together. As simple as it is. Okay, so first thing first, let me prepare the sauce for it, as I said, right? So for the sauce, what we need is, like, this is about, I would say, 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, right? And then to that, I'm going to add equal amount of brown sugar. You know, this recipe is kind of like a combination of so many flavors. So you need like a good amount of sweetness, a good amount of saltiness for the salty bite, and as always, spicy, right? So I'm going to add the sriracha or my hot sauce for the spicy, and then I'm going to add a little bit, like about a teaspoon of ginger here, okay, and a dash of sesame oil to give that nice toasty sesame taste flavor to it. Like a couple of dashes of rice wine vinegar to give that tanginess to it, right? Here's our sauce. Now it's ready. I just added a pinch of sesame seeds. Okay, so we have our sauce ready. Now I'm going to check on the tofu. Oh, it seems like our tofu is nice and crispy. To a bowl. Okay, here it is. So our tofu is ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to saute some of the vegetables, carrots, mushrooms, bell peppers, onions, just, you know, sort of like really quickly. It's a quick saute. It's not any long cooking because again, in this recipe, you really need the crunchiness coming from the vegetables. Your noodles are soft, they're a little bit chewy. That's how glass noodles are. Then you have, you know, your tofu. We have crisped it a little bit, so it has a little crispy texture. Then we have all these vegetables, and you have to just have it in a right, you know, you have to cook them just in a right, so that you have the right texture of so many different things playing in your mouth, right? So now what I'm going to do is just add a little bit of oil to the pan, right? And in the pan, saute the onions, the bell peppers, literally for like 2 minutes, not more than that, right? So we need it to be nice and crispy. And you know, with this dish, the thing about this dish is you can actually eat it cold too. I actually love these noodles cold. So you can eat it cold or you can eat it warm, but not necessarily hot. Okay? So, you know, just cook it. You can cook, and it's a great dish when it's a great dish when you're entertaining. Because what you do is you can cook it, you can put it in the refrigerator, you can cook it the day before, put it in the refrigerator. Oh my God, and the flavors blend so well if you like, you know, let it sit in the refrigerator. So cook ahead, one of the very nice dish to like cook ahead, and you can cook it like, you know, in a big quantity for a crowd. So again, a crowd pleaser. You can take it to a friend's house, you can take it to a potluck, no need to heat up, right? No need to heat the dish either. So here, now I added bell peppers to the onions and let it cook for a few minutes. So keep cooking, just saute it. And once those are cooked, I'm gonna cook the mushrooms on the side. Okay. And then I'm gonna mix our sauce, which is already made. We can add the sauce a little bit at a time. Okay, and we can add the sauce to the noodles too. This to the sauteed onions and bell peppers, I'm gonna add a little bit of the minced garlic. So the garlic is cooked, the garlic is not raw, right? So it looks like the vegetables are a perfect crunch and they are cooked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer it to the big bowl, right? Transfer this to the big bowl. So next thing, what we're going to do is saute the carrots, the carrot matchsticks. And you know guys, for this you don't need much oil either. Here, you can just add a little bit of water. That's what I like to do. And they will cook. Because the best part of this dish is you need crunchy vegetables. So, you know, so you are not cooking everything too much. I know I cut the matchsticks a little bit long, but it's fine because the dish has noodles in it. And then with the little bit of chewy noodles, what this carrot sticks will do is add a little crunch, right? Just a minute or so. Carrots look pretty much done. So I'm going to add the carrots to the mix of vegetables. And you know, this dish is practically you need 2 pots and one big mixing bowl, and you're good to go. Guys, they don't need to be cooked. They will be they will add to the crunch, and they will cook along with the carrots, with the carrots and the onions there that are hot. So you don't really need anything for this. So this is good to go. And the snow peas are my own addition to this, because I love snow peas and I love how crunchy they taste. And sometimes you get a good batch, they're sweet too. So they add, and they take like seconds to cook, right? So that is another big advantage of them. So next thing in the pot goes our mushrooms, right? For mushrooms, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add like a little bit, a teaspoon of sesame oil to cook mushrooms. And now, like, sesame oil brings such an amazing flavor to it. It's a little bit nutty, and mushrooms are earthy. So now let's cook the mushrooms in the sesame oil just a little bit until the mushroom starts releasing water, and then we add the mushrooms to the mix. So we have, again, so many different flavors. And sometimes when you go to Asian market, or even now in regular market, you get those amazing shiitake mushrooms. They taste so good in this recipe. Much flavor, so flavorful. So you can add that too. So any amount of mushrooms is good. And mushrooms have a lot of nutritional value. They not just bringing flavor, the meatiness and earthiness to a dish, but they're packed with nutrition. So, and as I always say, in the plant-based, when you're eating plant-based, when you're making plant-based, you're trying to eat more and more of plant-based, make sure that you include all the variety of vegetables. The more the variety, the more the nutrition, and different nutrition coming from so many different vegetables, grains, beans. So make sure that whenever you're eating plant-based, or whenever you're trying to eat vegetables, eat a variety, right? Variety is the key. Variety is the flavor. So it looks like our mushrooms will be cooked in just a couple of minutes. And you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to add a little bit of this sauce that we made, right? I'm going to add the little bit of sauce we made to the mushrooms. So the mushrooms start absorbing the flavor of the sauces. Wow, look at the mushrooms. They're nicely glazed. Okay, and they are ready. So I'm going to toss the mushrooms now inside the pot. And as I said before, see, our snow peas didn't need any cooking. With the heat from all the cooked vegetables, said before, right? Our snow peas don't need cooking. All the heat from the hot vegetables, they helped, almost cook the snow peas, right? Okay, so now the last part, spinach. I'm gonna just wilt it like literally for 5 seconds, 10 seconds at the most, okay? And the same thing with spinach. I'm gonna add the spinach to the pot of hot vegetables, and spinach will be, in no time, the spinach will be also cooked. It will wilt right away. So, guys, you can see, like here I used minimal oil, like so it's compared to what you get in, like, if you go and get something from a takeout or go to a restaurant, it's like food is literally bathed in oil. And as you see, like, what I'm cooking here, it really doesn't need much oil. And still all the flavors are like, it's packed with flavors, and all the flavors are still there. There we go. So we have everything in this pot now. Now you're going to say, where is the sauce, right? So here's what I'm going to do. I have the tofu, my crispy tofu. I'm going to add it back to the pan and add a few spoons of the sauce, right? You can, if you like it more, like if you like more sauce in your, in this dish, you can definitely prepare more and then add it to the vegetables while you're cooking it. But with tofu, I would recommend not to add the sauce when you're crisping it in the beginning, because when you are crisping it, and at that time if you add the sauce, it will not crisp, it will become soggy. So now, as you guys can see the crispy tofu is glazed so beautifully with the sauce. So now it picks up all the flavors, the sauce, and it doesn't break, and plus like you have the crispiness from it, and you have the flavors from the sauce. And there it goes in the pot, right? We are going to add scallions to it. I have some scallions, green onions that I've chopped, and they will, with all the other hot vegetables, tofu, you don't need to cook them. They will just be crunchy, and then they will, sort of like along with the vegetables, they will warm up. For the last part, which is the noodles, right? This dish is supposed to be a spicy noodle dish, right? Spicy glass noodles. So what we're going to do is the remainder of the sauce that we have, we are going to just toss the noodles and the sauce together on the stove, so the noodles absorb all the flavors from the sauce. Okay, so let's do that. And since the noodles, we drained the noodles, and they were hot when we drained it, right? So they will be very sticky. So what I'm going to do is give it a wash in cold water, just a quick rinse in cold water. And then in the hot pan, add the noodles to the hot pan. And to the noodles in the pan, add this delicious sauce that we made, our sweet, spicy, flavorful sauce. Just going to wash out all the sauce from the bowl, so making sure all the sauce is absorbed by the noodles. Okay, and just in just a couple of minutes, or maybe it just takes a minute for the noodles to absorb all the sauce in the pan, so that it just absorbs the sauce. So all the flavor now is trapped in the sauce, and some of it in the vegetables. Now if you guys need to adjust any seasoning, if you want more spicy, go for the spicy sauce. If you want it a little bit, a little more salty, add a little more soy sauce. For the sweetness, of course, you can add more brown sugar. But guys, you can't go wrong with this. You can, whatever flavor you like more, you can add. Whatever flavor you like less, take it out. So this is, again, no strict recipe guidelines. Go with what your taste buds feel for, right? And in few minutes, all the delicious sauce will be absorbed by the noodles. Look, it's already absorbing. Look, the glass noodles. Now look at how they look. I'm going to add it to the mix. So all the sauces from the pan, everything is going to go in the veggies here from the sauce that is absorbed by the noodles, and then some of it we also added in the mushrooms, tofu. Everything comes together here. And yes, I'm not forgetting the last thing, which is my red cabbage. This is like to add more crunch and more color and more flavor to this dish, right? Ooh, look at that. And see how easy this was? I mean, no elaborate cooking, no slaving in front of the stove. You don't need to do any of that, right? A delicious dish is ready in no time. And yes, we have few more things we're going to add to it, right? Crunchy peanuts. So here's what we're going to do. To the dish. Ooh, look at that. And I love it like during summer. I love it this as a cold salad, for lunch. During winter, you can eat it warm. As I said before, entertaining. If you're going to a party, you're going to a picnic, you're going somewhere out where you don't have you don't necessarily have things to heat up, or this is such an easy thing to take with you. And vegetables you can keep changing, if you can, to your liking, you can add different vegetables, but my recommendation is whatever you add, make sure that you add something that is crunchy, and you don't sort of have to cook too much, right? So here it is, my glass noodles are ready, and I'm gonna add this crunchy cabbage. One more thing I love here are roasted peanuts. One more ingredient that can add a little crunch and a little bite to it, right? Add some roasted peanuts and black and white sesame seeds. Look at the explosion of colors and flavors, right? I mean, come on. Who could not be tempted to just dig in with a fork right here? Huh? And as always, it's plant-based, it's full of healthy ingredients, and it is so delicious, so many different flavors. See, that's the beauty of cooking with plant-based ingredients. It can never get boring, and there is so much variety to experience. I mean, imagine how much variety of plants, how much variety of grains, how much variety of beans, how much variety of greens you have. I mean, come on, it can never get boring. Okay, you think you don't like this, you can always switch to that. If you think you don't like kale, you can go spinach. If you think you don't like spinach, you can try collard greens. So keep trying, and something will hit. And you know what? The best thing is, while trying, you are gonna get so much nutrition, right? So friends, if one thing I feel, if you get from this, variety is the key. That's what I would say. There are so many, their plant-based experience should not be boring, should not be mundane, should not be routine. It should be about variety. And here it is. Look at how amazing this looks. Come on, now please don't tell me, or don't ever think that plant-based is bland, plant-based is boring, plant-based is hard, difficult, or you need millions of ingredients. So friends, one thing that you get from this, from watching this, being with me here for whatever time you are, most important part learning here is variety, right? Eat variety, eat a rainbow. Your body will thank you, your mind will thank you, your heart will thank you. And this is a diet that plant-based is something that gives back. It gives back to your body, it gives back to nature, right? And a diet that is not just healthy, but the only diet that's full of compassion. And look, compassion is healthy, it's delicious, it's flavorful. So for more, join us back on Deliciously Plant-Based. You can watch us on MANATV International, subscribe to MANATV International, follow us on Facebook to find out what else is up our sleeve, what else we are cooking in the kitchen. And for recipes, you can go to Plantology Fuel website. And guys, as I always say, you don't need recipes. You got it all. If you watch it, you can make it. Thank you once again, and we'll be back with more Deliciously Plant-Based.